People all good with that?
It was wrapped.
Two.
There we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 22nd meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. I'd like to, the board is just coming out of a paperwork review process. I'd like to open the meeting by having us all say the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief, you get the honors again.
Sir, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, the first item, as usual on the agenda, is review and approval of consent items, which include, item 1 is the May 8th, 2017 meeting minutes, a payroll manifest of May 18th for $50,885.60, May 25th for $49,560, an accounts payable manifest for May 16th for $155,157.50, and of May 23rd, $14,221.79. We have the 2017 tax warrant first billing, which is out already. We have one elderly exemption. We have the treasurer reconciliation for April, and we have a veterans tax credit. Are there any items any board members wish removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Brunel. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstain. Any abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Are there any additional items that any other member would like put on the agenda? We do have the Memorial Day festivities that I'd like to talk to everyone about at the end, sponsored by the Historical Society. They will take place Monday, May 29th?
29th,
At 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'll talk more about it at the end of the meeting. A reminder that public input should not occur any earlier than 6:30 p.m. And we will now go on to the regular business section of the meeting. And item 1 is the appointment of Joshua Flynn as probationary police officer with a term expiring of May 22nd, 2018. Chief O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome. Joshua, you're back.
Sir, have you turn right here? Have you raised your right hand? I state your name.
I, Joshua Flynn,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties
discharge and perform all the duties
incumbent on me as a probationary police officer,
incumbent upon me as a probationary police officer,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Here comes the blood draw.
You see it's stuck?
Really should have a walkthrough before we go down.
We did.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations, John.
Congratulations.
And welcome.
Board, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're having,
We usually try to after, but you're gone. So you know what you're doing, don't
Put
you?
it right Litchfield.
Thank you all.
thank you very much.
Take care.
And he's been the part-timer that we just,
Yeah, he's gonna. He acts like a police officer.
he said he's
Why don't you go a long ways here?
Yeah, that's what they said.
If you're smart,
it's always nice
if you're
when it's
smart,
local.
stay here. You up the rings.
There goes our audience.
That might have been the quickest we ever had a part-timer go through the system,
up, yeah.
go through the
He's always,
program.
he's always certified.
It's
Yeah, it was
great
very
to
well.
see. It's great to see.
It is great to see. Okay, item 2, appointment of Eric Cushing as an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Chief? Oh, wait a second.
Do we have a letter of?
Term expiring 3/31/20. We did get,
We received an
I
email.
received the email, it's in the
Correspondence.
thing. Hello, Troy and Brent, in the process of clearing out the inbox, I realized I never responded to this message. A long story short, when Eric went through a period where he was not able to attend meetings, as a result, a few years back, I requested, and the selectmen approved moving Eric to alternate and moving John Devereaux from alternate to full member. And the list I have below. Sorry for the delay, Rick. So, yes, we did. So, is there a motion to appoint Eric Cushing as alternate member of the ZBA?
I make a motion to do such.
Mr. Perry, move. Mr. Brunel, seconds. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Okay, our code enforcement officer, building and health officer, how many titles do you have? Mr. Lynch, welcome. Come to the microphone. We have an issue with a hazardous and dilapidated building that, we had asked, Troy to contact you about, and we're, anxiously awaiting your reply.
Been there, seen it, done it, dealing with the owner. We have people going out there. Has there been a medical situation where I can't say a lot, but the owner. We're meeting again tomorrow on site. It's been the owner has had some issues for the last 2.5 years. And I talked to him again today. The people that he's very close with have had trouble as well, but now we're getting back on board. They're getting things better. So he's willing to get something done. We're looking at the registrations on the cars. And most of all those cars, even the antiques there and everything, are registered. Okay. The house itself, we're looking at contractors and stuff. We're still dealing with this I want to do it type thing. That's the type of man he is. He lived in that house since 1986. He hasn't been in there for 2 years prior to, what I understand. And that's where things are right now. We'll know more. I hope to have a better response for everybody. But I've been slowly dealing with it, because you have to in this case with this type of sickness. We're also looking at fencing off the area to eliminate that potential safety on one area.
At whose cost?
What?
At whose cost?
Yes,
I think that's the biggest issue that's going on here is the safety aspect of it.
we're taking care of that.
So just as long as obviously everybody wants to see the mess cleaned up as well. But I think if we can make sure that nobody happens to go in there by accident.
Doors
and
are
get hurt.
locked. Doors are locked, and we're gonna secure the south side and start taking it down. I talked to him about storage containers to take his stuff out and put in. But I learned something more today. We'll be talking more about it. I can't say what that is right now because.
So you will keep us updated?
Yes, I will. I'll
Troy.
keep you updated.
Can we put a date certain on this though? This has been, wait a minute, how long has it been the building was condemned? When did you condemn it initially?
When it first went in, I shut the power off. That's what I did. I did not condemn it so that I condemned it to not to be used.
And there's a difference there?
There's a big difference. I didn't say rip it down.
So is that what condemned as dangerous and unsafe
You
is?
can say that, yeah.
Well, there's two, yeah,
And
there's two
now I'm gonna
pockets on it.
secure it up, but I've been dealing with the medical side of it.
I'm not sure that the medical side,
If you bring it to the courts, I've been there, and I can tell you won't get nowhere if you got that issue, and that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Well, let's say this, I mean, this has been a couple of weeks now that we've now received a complaint and been involved, and you've been working,
Prior to that as
but you've
well.
been working with
Yep.
the owner even more so since then,
This year, he's been well and aware of doing something.
and you're getting cooperation.
I am now,
All right.
okay? I'll let you know in a couple of weeks where things are.
Why a couple of weeks? I still don't understand. the
That's when
timeline.
you meet back.
We don't need to, we don't need to meet to hear that
Okay,
the situation's been
I'll let you
cleared.
know.
If you wouldn't mind letting Troy know.
I'll let him know.
You know, keep him,
Yeah, sure.
in the
Well, I'm,
And
right,
then-
my question is, when will the property be fenced off or secured?
That's what I wanna work on tomorrow. I told you, that's what I said before. I'm meeting with him tomorrow on that.
And if it doesn't get done in this reasonable amount of time, what's the action we have to take
And we're
out?
gonna find out what the reasonable amount of time he's willing to do. I'll find out more.
It's not about what he
I
wants to do,
can't
it's
tell
about
you
what we
for
need to do
sure.
for the safety of the community.
Safety of the community is not in harm right now, okay? The building is very hard to get into. You cannot get into the main house at all.
I don't know, from from the pictures, if
What
I was a
pictures do
kid,
you-
I can get into the window.
What pictures do you have that I don't have?
Same pictures you're probably looking at.
I don't have any pictures.
I'm a kid, if the kid wants to climb into that building, he's gonna get in that
You
building.
got pictures.
Yeah, there are pictures associated with this letter that we received.
I didn't receive that. What's the letter? Thank you. I
Well,
haven't seen anything.
Kevin, you're on the
Excuse
CC,
me.
so I would assume you
Just
saw
take a
it.
look.
I drove by there. It does look like it's hard to get into. I mean, I didn't walk around the house.
I understand that.
Yeah,
but
it
if
doesn't look
someone-
like there's any walls down.
No.
No, there's no walls down, but if someone wants to get in, they can definitely get in.
Kevin, I guess as long as you understand
I understand
the
your
frustration that we've
Yep.
had because of the timetable.
This has been to the town before, I heard.
And if there is anything you could do to expedite the securing of this building,
That's what I'm trying to do tomorrow. We talked about it already. Oh, I know who did this, okay.
Can I ask one more question? And that's where, Kevin, did you not get this letter?
I didn't get it.
It's CC to you, so I guess, Troy, my question is, how was it delivered to Kevin? Via email?
Via email. I don't believe I
I
gave him
never
a
got it.
paper copy.
Okay.
Let's go with this. It's being worked on, we're making,
Making a
Anyway.
lot of progress right now, I have to admit that.
and you understand the
I
board.
understand the criteria.
Okay,
I'm trying to secure it,
thank you, Ken.
okay? And I'm dealing with, when I found out the cars were registered, that surprised me.
There's no plates on those cars in the pictures that I saw, right? I don't
Huh?
think I saw plates on them.
The plates ain't on it, but he's got his registration tag.
I guess there is,
They're all paid for.
yeah, I guess there
They haven't
is.
been driven in a while, but
they're
they're all
not gonna
paid for.
move, do you really have to put stickers on them?
Probably not.
And double check your email, please.
Yeah, Kevin, if you are receiving a problem with email, I'd like to know that, because this looks like it went to you via email.
I think, Kevin, too, I left a copy of the
I got the
memo on your seat of your chair.
Not that one, no,
Back on the 8th?
I wasn't here. I remember I was sick that time.
I remember you came in my office, it was a Friday afternoon,
Don't recall, I apologize.
Well,
and, no,
one
I'm
way
just
or
saying, I remember
another,
you
so
said
you
some
got
words
it.
to me, and
I don't
so
recall.
you either received the memo or you received the email, because you were very upset.
Pictures or anything.
So,
Okay,
I think at least we're making headway.
yes, you are. At least I am.
Okay, we'll look for progress, Ken.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I'll stay with her because she's got some nice things she wants to talk about.
Next item, 2014 liens and tax deeding, and can I assume that our esteemed town clerk and tax collector is here for that
Yes,
item?
You
Welcome.
don't wanna
Come on
just
up.
sit here and be a member of the audience?
I thought I was going to, but apparently not.
I thought we were getting popular.
You may want to adjust that mic, please. Thank you.
Because we want to hear you.
Okay. So, Kevin did, that's why he's still sitting there.
We're leaning his house?
No, no. But he does go out and do the inspections on the properties. That we do have properties that are going to deed this year, if that's what you choose to do. I have one that the individual, 1, 2, 3, 3 of them are trailers, which one of them is abandoned, and Kevin went over and took pictures and found out that it was abandoned. I guess the kids were living there and they just up and left, so that's one of them. The other one, the two people that are on the deed are in nursing homes. We reached out to the daughter, and they don't want the trailer. So apparently there's somebody living in the trailer. I'm not sure of the whole arrangement. I was told by the park owner and the individual that's living there that he was supposedly the caretaker of the gentleman that was living there. Again, I reached out to the daughter. She did not get back to me asking her if that was the case. He's not paying taxes, he's not paying park rent, but he lives there and he helps the park owner. So that one is also one of the properties that's going to deed. I spoke to the park owner on this one as well as the other one here, and once we go through all our procedures and everything, he's willing to buy the property from the town so that we don't have to move it or do anything with it. He's usually pretty good about that. The other one that's there, I haven't heard anything from him. I've sent him the certified notices. We've gone through everything we're supposed to go through. He signed for it. He may come in and pay it on the last day. We're not sure, but if not, then we'll go from there. And like I said, the park owner also, he knows the amounts that are due on these. And once we do our thing, then it'll get turned over to Troy, and he'll come in and meet with Troy and go from there. The other two are 549 Charles Bancroft and 551 Charles Bancroft. I've sent notices to them. They signed for the notices, but nothing. They may send it in on the last day. They may come in with cash on the last day, but as of now, nothing.
Oh, no wonder. I knew it sounded really close.
Yes.
It's not
So
you.
the lot next to me, okay. Oh, so that's the lot that's not built on and the one that the
that's
house
built on.
is built on.
Is that the one that's half built right now?
Well, yeah.
Partially.
it's-
Yeah.
Really?
Wasn't that company going under?
Apparently another company bought it, which was what we got the notice back, so we had to resend the notice because they've been switching around, and Kevin knows who they are, so he got the information for us. We resent it, and they signed for it, so they know what's gonna happen. And like I said, they couldn't come in and pay on the last day. The town also sent them a letter because they are supposed to get impact fees back, and they haven't responded to that either.
Nor have they taken out the stump dump or this.
So I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, no. So there's no action needed for us tonight, right?
Not unless you don't want to deed any of these properties and you want to let them go without paying.
Don't we usually do this in non-public?
No.
No. You do it in public unless we're gonna discuss
Right.
payment. If someone has a payment plan,
Yeah, definitely.
then we will bring it up.
Well, then can I see the deeds?
You wanna see the names, you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, you can see
So that
that.
stump dump is right next to your house.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at it on the satellite right now.
Yeah,
I'd be
thanks.
hard pressed to give back impact fees to,
I said that,
Well, we wouldn't,
but we
right?
have to.
they're actually supposed to go back to the original owner.
Same, yeah,
Just name change?
But until they,
So it's just a name change, it's not a new company.
right.
but could those be used like to clean up the site?
If they claim them, but by the time they claim them, not to clean up this, but I don't know what the,
Well, you could
I
give it
would
back,
say
you
you
don't
could-
have to do
on that.
that, but not, you probably can't mandate them to do anything. Our
right.
code enforcement can do that though, because the stump site should be cleaned up, right?
Stump site is not a very stump site, it's active construction site. Like I told the neighbor that it's there, much as I like to see it go, you can still keep it till you get to build it, but that's not going. But under construction. When you get a lot like that, the way it was done, you're stuck with it. And they put all the stumps there.
When do these go to
Oh,
deed?
I know.
I would say with the economy and the way the real estate market is, those lots they'll be going soon.
Houses, yeah, in town going on the
Just-
market.
As soon as they're listed.
Yeah.
Somebody, I forgot who it was, a resident, it caught them off guard because they didn't have another place. They thought that they were going to be able to get another house in another town, sold their house within a day here. Now, it hadn't been on the market a complete day. The house was gone. They had nowhere to go. I feel bad for them.
Well, it's not a
Wow.
bad problem to have.
Yeah, it isn't, but unless you're trying to move a complete family.
Yeah.
So it's just short of $32,000 here.
Yeah, are you looking at just the 2014?
I'm just looking at the totals.
The totals are everything that they owe for that property. If they come in on Thursday and pay those, they only have to pay the 2014.
Stay in the
If
rear.
they don't, and we end up deeding the property, to get the property back, they have to pay the full amount.
So can we just hold off until the deadline, or do you-
Yes. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'd prefer to wait and see how this shakes out, and then,
Yeah, we kind of have an idea what's gonna happen, and
right.
Yeah, we
everybody okay with
don't typically deed until after, right?
we don't do that until, this is just kind of information to let you know that these are the properties, that this is where we are right now. And chances are you may get one more person to pay, because we're not sure. But they don't call, they don't contact us to let us know what's going on. So 2 of them I'm sure about, because one of them's abandoned, and the other one, they're in a nursing home. So, and the person that's living there, doesn't belong there.
$198.
so, what is it?
$360 could take 2 of these out of deed.
But that's why, what'll happen, Steve, is that the trailer owner, after the process and
Yeah,
given
he
the
pays
time
He
limit,
pays the whole thing.
he'll buy
gonna
them
come
back.
in,
and-
right.
Right.
And he's gonna pay the
And
full
put
amount
them-
that's
and
on
he'll-
there.
Right, and he'll put them back on the market, so it should
Right.
be okay.
And those 2 lots, it's only like 1,100 and 2,200.
Right.
They don't own the lot,
Right.
they just own the trailer.
It's only the trailer, it's not the lot.
No, I'm talking about the lots up at the north end.
Next to me.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah.
The only one that's different is the Hillsborough 2, the Hillsborough 1, that is a owner occupied park now.
Okay.
They're gonna get.
We're gonna have to figure out what to do with that.
Hillsborough 1's on page,
102.
on 102.
Yeah.
Hillsborough 2 is on page.
Did you wanna see this?
Alright, sorry.
And now Hillsborough 2 is also owned
Thank you.
by the people inside.
Okay.
The other one is the rental park is whole office.
Right.
Okay.
So the only one that we're gonna not sure about who's gonna do what with is Hillsborough 2. Hillsborough 1 on 102, so.
Okay, so, it's okay with the members if we just hold off until we find out the disposition of this, and then you
Yep.
can, let us know.
And I'll let Troy know on Thursday what the status is from
Okay.
there, and then we can decide.
So you won't take the deed, like on Thursday, if a couple of them are not paid.
They have until 1 o'clock, so we wouldn't do anything until Friday morning.
Okay.
So, and you can either do a deed waiver, that you don't want to do anything with it and just let it sit there until next year, or we can deed the property and find, that's usually when they'll come about, and,
But it'd be okay if we vote on this the first meeting in June.
no, you're gonna have to decide before that. It'll have to be either an email or.
Oh, wait a minute, we have another meeting.
No, I'm
No, we
thinking
don't.
Terry needs to have a
We need
decision Friday, is what
Friday.
you're telling me.
We'd have to know
So-
Friday.
Well,
We can't hold them
If they-
because of the time.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, this is what I was,
All right,
So
then
if
I'd
they-
put them, I'd put them all to deed.
yeah. If they don't pay, put them to deed.
I mean, we're not talking about somebody that didn't pay the taxes 1 year, we're talking about
And
2014.
we're not talking about someone that's called to make payments or called for,
Right.
saying that they had an issue. These are people that have not contacted us or anything in the past 3 years to make a payment.
Okay,
I wouldn't-
You
so,
got nothing.
So we
I wouldn't, I don't know if we want to deed the trailers.
well, we,
Yeah, we have to.
My
But you
suggestion
can
is,
have a deed
let him
waiver.
just sit.
We always deed them, and then
I
we s-
suggest you deed it
and
and
then
then
we
let
sell
the
it to
park
the-
owner
to the
deal
park
with it.
owner.
The park, exactly. 'cause
Okay.
The park owner's
so
gonna
that's
step
right.
up.
So he would
We've
buy
done this
them if
before,
they're
several
deed, not
times.
the deed waiver. Fine.
yeah, we've done it before.
And what about that, what about
What's the
that
pro, is that,
third trailer? We don't know,
That's where the co-op's gonna have to step in and they're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do with
are
it.
we supposed to deed them by address, or are we just supposed to say we're gonna deed the ones in discussion?
Just the ones in discussion.
How many are there?
Fine.
There's 40 Horseshoe, 17 Bradford, 2 Lori Lane, and then 549 Charles Bancroft and 551 Charles Bancroft.
Alright, so just to make it clean, can I have that back?
Again?
There's 5. I think we did too quick. Sorry, Steve.
That's okay.
The older units, you're right, about taking those and getting back, let them.
oh, if they can, yeah.
We-
It's just,
we-
the only concern would be
Is
if
that
we
what we
get
do?
stuck with one
We put these to deed?
I know.
Yep.
and no one buys it,
Yep.
we're gonna pay the lot fees.
Alright, so I make a motion that we put to deed 40 Horseshoe Drive, 17 Bradford Drive, 2 Lori Lane, 549 Charles Bancroft Highway, and 551 Charles Bancroft Highway.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Brunel. Discussion.
The
Hearing
only- The
none?
only discussion I have is a question that says, that doesn't take effect until after the due date
Correct.
Friday
of
morning.
Thursday.
Friday morning.
Friday
8
morning.
o'clock.
Friday morning.
Okay.
And if someone calls on tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday and says, I want to make a payment agreement, then I'll reach out to the board and
Right,
you can,
absolutely.
I'll have a deed waiver for you and you can sign the deed waiver and decide what
Absolutely.
you want to do.
Anybody that's willing to pay, I'm willing to work with.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 400. And we will see you in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Item 5, Corning Road paving, binder and wearing course. Mr. Brown.
Okay. Okay, it was brought to my attention last week that there's some discussion, there was a recommendation from a local business taxpayer that the town consider doing the wearing course on Corning Road. Corning Road is scheduled to just have the binder course this year. It would go a whole year, and we apply the wearing course next spring. The concern is that traffic, the road has a lot of traffic, there's a lot of truck traffic, and the binder course most likely is going to deteriorate fairly quickly for that type of use. So I did consult with a road agent, our town engineer. Both are in agreement that if we can get the wearing course applied this year, we should. I spoke with Penachuk and told them that there was some concern from the Board of Selectmen about the fact that if there's problems with the road, we're basically releasing the performance bond. And I was informed that if the wearing course goes down this year, Penachuk Stoll is going to withhold, they have a 2% retention policy. They have a 1-year performance bond, and the town actually has a 2-year performance bond in place for this road. So there's really very little risk to the town to allow this road to be brought up to the wearing course this year.
So again, as I said, if we let them just put the base course down, and then they drive on it for a year, before they put the wearing course on, the road's beat, it's their cost to fix it.
Yeah, I think
Why are we so concerned about putting a wearing course on now and basically taking a road with an extra year's worth of abuse?
it's maintaining the integrity of the base. If the sides start cracking, then when you start plowing snow, you can cause a lot more damage to the binder course than needs to be.
All right, so then.
I mean, it's
would be a
just,
mess
I
anyway.
mean, I'm not an engineer, but I know,
'Cause then they would tell us it was our fault.
yeah, I mean,
All right.
So what was
from
the
an
rec-
engineering point of view, the, Penachuk's engineer and our own engineer and the road agent are all like, yeah, in this case, we probably really should put the wear and course down.
So it is the opinion of the engineers to do that. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the, as discussed.
Corning Road wear and
Road.
course.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Brunel, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Discussion?
My first second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Personnel policy, medical, health and dental changes.
Did you just skip one?
Revolving.
Oh.
Special detail?
Yeah,
I
special
did.
detail.
Sorry about that. Special detail revolving fund. Review. Mr. Brown.
All right, so, let me click on it. Down at the bottom, you'll see there's 3 tabs. I'm just gonna go to the current balance, and this gives you a snapshot of how healthy our special revenue fund is for the police detail. So when Karen did this reconciliation, we had $25,822 in cash. We have another $24,888 outstanding in accounts receivable. I can tell you that about 80% of those accounts receivable are due to the PFOA construction, and I have no concern whatsoever about receiving payment. The remaining contractors are Asplund, Eversource, Liberty Utilities, companies like that, again, always pay their bills. So that gives us an account balance of about $50,000. The only outstanding items at the time of this reconciliation, which was payments for New Hampshire State Retirement System, so unemployment tax, workers' comp, and administrative fees. So we only had $2,879 that was due to the general fund, leaving you a balance of $47,831. Again, that balance was the assumption that we'll collect the $24,888, but I have no concern over that.
And what was our balance at the
End
let's
of,
say January 1,
so on,
2017?
go down on the tab,
33,000.
fourth quarter 2016,
33,168.
33,168 is what Karen had determined the balance of the fund. So this represented everything being paid, all police officers' salaries, and the matches, all eligible matches to the 457
In
account.
2016 paid.
Great.
So
So
I've not
if-
transferred, just so you know, all of last year. I mean, Karen's been moving administrative fees and, those payroll-related things, workers' comp and that kind of stuff like that. Those have all been moving back to the general fund. But as far as, vehicle fuel and, when we went through the exercise of trying to determine what our cost is out of pocket, we've never actually did a transfer of any funds. So there's a couple ways we can do this, and I can bring this back to the board. One, we had done a spreadsheet where we calculated what our hourly cost is, and that number was like $4.05 per hour. So we could go back and add up the hours that were worked in 2016 and apply that fee, hour fee, which would determine, the value. I think Karen did it roughly today. It came up to somewhere around $10,000 something dollars. The other thought is that, this $33,000, if all of our funds have been paid as we're obligated to the union, that these funds could go towards, as I said in the past, towards the cruisers that we've purchased here in 2017. So it's worth the discussion.
So I have a couple questions about it then, because we talked about it a little bit last meeting, you know, it looks like our exposure for the 457 match is about $20,000. So my opinion is we keep $20,000 until we continue, we get all the 2017 matches done.
Yep.
Right? Just hold that. I don't know, I think, you're talking about the administration fees again, right, the $10,000.
It was,
I railed against that when we talked about it before. I think the perfect use is to offset we have a tax hit because of the new cruisers, and we should use this money to offset that cost. There's unanticipated expenses in the new cruiser because of the equipment fit outs that weren't captured in the tax rates to begin with. So I would certainly.
John, how do you
use
mean in
that.
the tax rate?
So we put in for a new cruiser, with the extra cruiser, but it was just a cruiser. There's a fit-up cost that was not captured in that dollar amount, because we always had the
They
transition.
always put the fit-up cost.
But we always, it's the.
it was a transfer.
We always had a transfer fee associated with it, because we already owned the equipment that went in the cruiser, and we moved it from one cruiser to the other.
Oh,
This is a brand-new fifth frontline cruiser, which required all this extra gear, so they had to buy all that stuff new. Now, I brought it up before, so it's not new.
no,
it's
hold on.
discussion,
What
but
do you mean a brand new cruiser? We have an
There's
additional
We
one?
we brought a fifth frontline cruiser on certain service this year. We're beginning to.
2 cruiser purchase, 1 becomes an extra.
Right. The idea is that 4 cruises in rotation, it was putting too much wear and tear in the cars way too fast. And we decided to go and let them bring a 5th one online, so they have basically 1 always down. Because today, they'll have 2 down off different shifts.
What's the potential, what's the cost that we're looking at for the upfit? 15?
Huh?
was it $8,000,
No,
the extra?
No, that was just, so it was 8, it was 7, 4. You're looking about almost $12,000 just for the electronics in the car. So, again, I think whatever we think is a correct number, I would apply it to that fund and let it offset that balance, because it's gonna go over big time.
I think what we can do is, give us a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Let's get some of those outstanding accounts receivables in. And once the paving work is finished up, the activity that the department will be having is mostly the utility work and tree work. And we'll have a really good solid number of where we're at before you get into the fall when you start doing the mells, the spooky world.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty firmly on the fact that we should pay the outstanding debt from last year. If we have administration fees that we're supposed to charge, they should be charged off.
These
And that
are-
money should come over.
But those administration fees were a number of those fictitious, that was created by counting everybody who touches a bill and charge an hourly fee for it,
Yeah.
which was,
And
that's not reality.
It actually is reality,
No, it's
because
not.
somebody has to charge that bill, and that bill wouldn't be there if the detail wasn't being
No,
done.
I get that part, but it doesn't touch Claire, it doesn't touch Pat, it doesn't, and that's how the number got rated out. It's all these people touch this bill and they don't.
It wasn't ran out that way.
Yeah, it was. I'll pull the big thing up. That's what it was. Go pull up the calculations. It had people's names associated with
We had-
touching the bill.
Did we?
I don't know if we had Claire and stuff.
Yeah,
we had,
that got raised during the conversation. It was there.
Right, because we put it in the system.
Right. I'm not saying that we don't. A lot of people don't touch it all the time, but the
Yeah.
reality of it is they're doing the job already. And it takes 2 seconds to enter it in the system. It doesn't cost them $3 to do it. That was my thing. If we want to charge administration, charge a flat fee for every contract.
But it was more than the administrative fee. There was fuel.
So
there
let
was
me
vehicle
ask
maintenance.
this one.
Yeah.
So if there was $33,000 left at the end of last year, in theory, if everything was paid to the officers under their contract,
That should be
the rest of the
$33,000.
money's ours.
The rest of the money is supposed to be aligned. The original purpose of that fund was not to be a profit center, but to align to other policing activities.
Well, wait a
to
second.
offset the tax base.
To pay for anything related
Related
to
to
policing.
special, yeah.
to
Correct.
extra duty policing.
No,
Excellent,
no, it
excellent,
wasn't- no,
along
it's
with
not.
administration fees.
No, the fund was created to offset the police expenses in general. So we've used that fund in the past
Yeah,
to
but only related to
policing.
detail.
No, because we used that fund to actually fit out all the crews with computers 5 years ago.
So if they
because we had
worked,
so much money in that
if they
fund.
worked 500,000 hours of overtime this year in details,
The
We
police-
should let them spend $5 million
No.
extra if the money's there.
No, if the police budget's $1 million and there's an extra $500,000, and let's offset the police budget by $500,000, the tax base gets a break.
But the way you're saying it, we're not getting anything. We're gonna give it all to them.
No, you're giving it to that department, but you're lowering down their overall hit to the tax base by doing that.
How? That budget's already been appropriated.
Next year you can offset it then. I mean, this way then, because you're gonna because
So when
you're
their
gonna
budget goes to the budget committee, we can tell the budget committee to lower their budget by the
no, I
offsetting
wouldn't do that. I
amount.
would take whatever the difference is and carry it into next year.
But see, what Steve's saying is that it doesn't do that.
Right.
We'd like to have it done, but it does not do that.
Well, maybe there's an expense that we know is coming up next year that we can allocate that dollar for, so we don't have to put it in the tax request.
I mean, because I can play devil's advocate here, and I can say we've already seen about $50,000 of extra money that has to come out of the town side this year. So $12,000 extra for a cruiser. Why do I care?
There's no. I'm not sure I follow.
We have to swallow every overage on this side of the town. Every one of them.
I'm not saying they have to
So-
swallow it too. I'm
so
just saying
if
there's money to
did-
offset
if
that.
they
though.
didn't budget for their cruiser appropriately and they took an extra $12,000 hit to upfit it, so be it.
Okay.
I mean,
The
figure it out.
the reality of it is, if you take the money, you put it into the general fund, or put it into we apply it to our appropriations to offset it. We're just doing the exact same thing, and we're doing the exact same thing.
Well, I was looking, John, if whatever amount if we decide to transfer funds and apply it to the 2017 budget, we would credit a line. And what I was looking to do is credit the police cruiser
That's what I-
purchase
that's-
line,
Exactly.
which in theory would then, give us a credit back and free up some money.
Well, I don't think so, because if that line's already overrun, how is it going to?
But
And I would not
But we're
do
gonna
it-
have to make up for that overrun.
All
now.
right, in that case, Troy, I wouldn't
Won't
do
have
it
to 'cause the money's there.
now, okay? I would wait, it's too early, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, to do it now.
Oh, I wasn't just doing that anyway,
And,
but.
because we don't know if there's any other departments that may be, in trouble also, and if that's the case, then we could do that and then utilize, actually,
I would,
the police department should work on the assumption that they're gonna absorb that.
and I think
that
they
up-
are, but my
Chief,
suggestion would be, is in the case of, this is policing funds, I would take the money and pay the electronics for that cruiser out of that fund. That's how we fitted out the original cruisers.
all right,
That's
so
one use case that we've done several times.
let me interject one more time, and now I'll actually start swinging from your side. Okay? Back in the day when this fund was
Holy
started, the
moly.
theory for this was that we could only use the excess money to upfit police activity
Right, that's my opinion.
Right, which we can.
associated with details.
That's what my impression.
You can only use these
That's what
funds for any costs relating to running and operating the special detail service.
So how can we do it for a cruiser if that cruiser isn't gonna be used for details?
Because the cruisers are recycled down, and we end up using, they never
All right,
purchase.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in other towns, they've used their special revenue fund to help towards the purchase of electronic equipment, cruisers, equipment. It's gotta be related to special detail.
Okay, I'd like to move on, and I believe it's a
We'll
little
keep-
early to do
It's a little early, we've
And,
broken, we know what the issue
Think
is.
about it, and when it comes down to it, we'll.
I think we got two things going on, we got,
But I have one more question, and that's, you talk about fuel. You know how much fuel they consume, and if you wanna take an administrative charge for the fuel out, that's easy to do. Because every car that goes out in detail is recorded fuel usage, and we know the dollar amount for the cost of fuel. So that shouldn't be, I mean, I would agree with you, why should we absorb the whole cost of fuel for those detail cars? Or even a car, even a regular frontline car did a detailed job, we should credit that to the fuel line. It should come out of that and go right against the fuel line, because it's coming out of the normal appropriation for fuel, apply it back there and
yeah,
naked it out.
because as you know, we had more than just our two, special detail vehicles out there
Oh, we had
last fall.
the cars out there too that were paying for it.
And
We had our whole
Right,
fleet.
because the police department didn't budget for that, because they didn't know.
Well, we wouldn't have been able to get a
You
fuel
wouldn't have been
increase
able-
anyway, because the budget committee wouldn't
Tell
let us. We have a run rate
Right.
business, so.
So, I mean, that, I have no issue with that at all.
And just to be clear, the detail cars, the two, I believe we have detailed vehicles
Right.
over there,
3 now, I think.
all their service does come from this line. It doesn't go under the regular service line, right?
You talking about maintenance and stuff like
Maintenance.
Maintenance
Yeah.
costs,
Yeah.
we would charge against this fund. Last year, we
That-
had like $300 of maintenance cost. That was it,
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
two old cars.
One of the things we adjusted was where anything associated with those cars runs through this account, doesn't go to the standard
Right.
repair
Right.
account, and then have to go back in.
Yeah.
Everything related to the actual detailed vehicles go right to this
Yeah,
account.
I mean, my only problem is that we don't have a card system for each vehicle. So knowing exactly how much fuel is put into a special detail
Well, they
vehicle, we
radio,
can just.
it in though, so they track it in
Do they?
dispatch.
Okay, I was told it was something that's hard to track, so.
Well, I
I'll
guess they
double
question
back
why I
with the
hear the
chief.
traffic all the time, reading the mileage and amount of gallons they put in, so.
Okay.
Okay, we will deal with that at a future meeting. On to special personnel policy, fine, health and dental insurance update. Mr. Brown.
All right. So if, you're gonna need to go down and open this
We
document,
actually wanna open it up, go down to the bottom of the link.
and you should be able to see, where I've put in bold print changes for new language, and I've struck out, language I'd like to have removed. So, the reason I'm bringing this, you
that?
able to do it?
I like this, this works out good.
I only have the,
Slide all the way down.
Go all the way down. Oh, you're on the computer, there you go.
Right there.
where?
Just the,
Where you at?
You
It's
do
the
not
blue
have
line right on the
permission
bottom.
to add comments.
the blue line?
Go up. I'm in.
Your
That's
view?
it.
You got the editing?
That's it.
But there's no editing in there.
No, you should be able to see all the comments and stuff on the side, or little
I
strikeouts.
have
No, I
nothing.
don't see
Oh,
it
you have to
yet.
change, because you're on the pad, I bet you.
So how do I get to it, John?
You got mine?
Yeah.
Do you have it open?
I wonder if that's because you're in this. Yeah.
I'll look at yours.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because they're both on,
There's two tabs, that's the thing, like, you get the
Yeah.
paper.
You got it.
Yes,
yeah, when you access through a regular browser, you
I
can
just,
see it.
well, I found it.
Share with Brent so you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be just because the way his computer.
All right.
Well,
Go ahead.
all right, so the reason I'm bringing this forward is primarily it's due to the fact that we were here, presented to you last week, Terry and myself, about the part-time clerk position. And we had calculated the cost. The next day, between Karen, myself, and Terry, we're going through some things. We discovered that our policy allows people who work 21 hours or more to participate in the health and dental plan at 50% their cost. Typically, usually, rule of thumb is employees that work 30 hours or more are eligible to participate in health insurance. Right now is a perfect time because nobody would be impacted by this change. And so it's a good time to change the policy, to raise the bar up to 30 hours. They would still be eligible for the, to participate, but it would be at the rate of 50%. I also have gone through and made some adjustments to the health insurance plan that represents the changes that it's currently in the union contract. So, and again, these changes would not impact anyone that's currently employed. For example, a full-time employee who enrolls in the single health plan, currently our policy right now is that we would pay 100% of the premium cost. I'm proposing that we change that from 100% to 80%. That represents what we've been able to get in the union contract, so that cost sharing would be the same as in the union and non-union.
Do we have anybody that's on the single plan now?
No.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying it's good timing to be able to do that. The only change here that that would be, when we changed from 21 hours to 30 hours for the health and dental eligibility, the union is currently at 21. Now, I'm told that they went to 21 because that was the town policy, and I was told that we had 21 because it was specifically there to make available health insurance for an individual that's no longer taking health insurance. So, and then I've updated this stuff where our health plan now is, it's a renewal date of January 1st, no longer July. The flexible spending, there's a provision in there that we used to have for folks that opted to buy out or opted to waive health insurance in exchange for receiving a buyout. And there was a provision that at least 25% of the buyout had to go into their flexible spending account. This has become more of an administrative, labor-intensive task, if you want to call it that, today, because the cap that you're allowed to place in the fund is $500, no more than $500. I think back when the town was originally doing this, I think the town could put up to $2,500 in the flexible
Why did
spending.
it get lowered?
I don't know. I think it's because, this stuff's tax deferred, and maybe the federal government just realized they were losing some tax revenue.
Well, I still, because I have one, and
You can,
and I still.
you
put
can,
my-
but as far as employers.
Oh, what you put in, okay, yeah,
Because by us putting money in,
So
the
they can-
employer, we avoid paying some.
so they
Some
can, so
taxes.
they can still put, they can fund it up to $2,500,
Yeah, I-
but the town can only match or.
Yeah,
put
so
the
the- what-
percent off, so, okay.
The buyout would just become income for the employee. The employee then will decide if they want to put money in the flexible spending or not.
Okay.
So,
Tell me when you want me to ruffle some feathers.
We don't want to ruffle any feathers, but,
No? You
I
sure?
think that's
it.
it.
Sick of.
Again, I just wanted to.
Say go.
It was important to have these changes in place before we started the recruitment process for the clerk position.
All right, so if we're talking about this now, we're gonna make these changes, wouldn't this be a great time to change the buyout? Because I can't stand the way the buyout is set. Because the buyout is set for what you're eligible for. And what you're eligible for is not a true representation of what should be paid. Because if you have a family, you're eligible for a family buyout. And that family buyout is eligible until your kids are how old? 27?
Now 26, 27.
What happens if your kid's having their own insurance at that point? Are you still gonna get the buyout because your kid makes you eligible?
Well, wait a minute.
Of course it does.
It's a family plan though, right? There's no number
It's a
of
family
kids.
plan, yeah.
It doesn't matter how many kids you have.
you'd
As long
have
as
to-
there's
It's
one
still a family plan.
kid. I understand.
So because you're eligible for something, you get it, even if you don't need it.
Well, you have to demonstrate that you have insurance.
So that means the buyout's too high. The buyout should be the same for everyone.
But you're saying
Because
he
there's
has to.
gonna be a day, somebody's gonna come in and they're gonna fight it. And they're gonna say, because I'm a single person, I'm only gonna get, for instance, $500 a month. Whereas if I had a family, I'm gonna get $2,000 a month.
Yeah, but that's because you'd have to fund for a family.
No,
That's
it should be the same for everyone.
No, it's not though.
It should be the same for everyone.
It's not the way it is.
This is pretty common, this is common practice throughout towns and schools. It's
also common-
always,
it's
it's always
also
tagged on
common,
single, two-person, and family.
In the private sector too. But you have to prove you have insurance, though. That's the other thing. You can't just do it because you have to have insurance, comparable insurance on the other side. So you could buy yourself out, but your wife needs to carry insurance that covers you.
Yeah.
So you're not really gaining anything. You're just not double paying.
You can buy your own insurance policy if you want.
Right. Right. So your buyout funds your private insurance.
I'll never agree with it, ever. I think it's the right time to make the change. It should be the same
Well,
for everyone. It should be a given amount, the same for everyone.
But
Well, one of the, again, in the union contract, they have this buyout provision.
Yeah,
And
but we're
so
talking
it would
about
be,
changing something different than the union contract already, so two things wouldn't make.
we're making it very similar to the union contract, except for the fact that I'm changing it from 21 to 30. The police would still have the 21.
And why 30? Why not 32?
because we have a part-timer that works 30 hours in the. We can start with that.
32's always been the standard, though, that's the thing. I don't know where this number 30 came from. 32 is typically like industry standard outside of.
Part-timers working 30 hours, they're only working 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, if we did it, we'd just want to grandfather, employees that are currently on it.
I mean, you could just add that wording that anybody prior to this, any employee prior to this still qualifies.
Or
for
employees
21.
hired after
No,
something.
it's easier to leave it at 30 than it is to grandfather people in, because then that just makes it mess.
Well, there's no one at 21 now anyway.
Right.
So.
I just asked why, I
And
asked why it wasn't 30.
I can see, and I guess too, I'm looking down the road and, I'm sure some of the union people are watching, but, this could be one of those items that I'd like to talk to the union about changing, going from 21 up to 30. And currently, right now, I know they have 2 employees that work 30 hours.
Yeah, I guess we sort of in the past agreed that we'd align our policy with the union contract as it relates to benefits. So, I'm not sure, I mean, I agree we have no one impacted by it, so it doesn't matter, it's a good time to do it, but that would have to be an ask of the union,
Yeah.
kind of match.
You gotta start.
See, the
somewhere.
problem, I like to try to stay, we try to keep things as they agree to with the union contract, but sometimes it's just an opportunity before we bring someone on that you make the change now, and nobody's impacted. It's hard once you have someone working, 22 hours a week, and we're paying 50% of their health and dental. To take that away from them,
Well, I
you
would
wouldn't do it. You end up grandfathering them.
Right.
So this way, it's clean. They come on board. The policy's in place before they're
What do
hired.
other towns do? What's the average hours required to get insurance in most other towns?
I think it's running around 30,
They're
32.
in the range.
Yeah,
Um,
30, 32.
Well, is it a,
Sometimes 35.
when you say in the range,
I was
you're
gonna
talking
say,
about
see,
horseshoes?
somebody's
Some
gotta
are
be the high.
24, some are.
Somebody's gonna
32.
be the high to get everybody else on board.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure about that.
All right, is there a motion, gentlemen,
That we're what, approving the
the
changes?
changes?
Well, I do agree with it, and I will vote in favor of it, but I won't make the motion, because I'm not that in favor of it.
Well, which part are you not in favor of? The
I already
buyout,
told
the
you,
buyout aspect?
yeah.
That wasn't even part of the conversation. You brought it in.
If we're gonna make changes, it'd be the time to make it.
I'll entertain a motion, gentlemen, to accept the changes.
I guess there's no motion.
I agree with Steve. I think the opportunity to make some of these changes will be now.
So make the motion.
I'll let Steve do it.
He's not going to.
It's up to you.
I'm not doing it.
You don't like it either.
Well, I mean, my objection is real, honestly, I don't like the idea of going from 21 to 30. I don't, because the union aligns that way, and I would stick that, I get that it's the right time. I would accept it, just clearly state that if you've been an employee, here's my challenge, what happens if we have an employee who's currently taking insurance, but for whatever reason has to go down below 30 hours? They lose their insurance. There's not even an option for them to buy it at 50%.
Yeah, but anyone would lose that if they're out of work. If they're not collecting a paycheck, they lose it.
Yeah, I understand that, but what if they have to reduce their hours for some other reason, but they can still work, but
John,
only.
that could happen there.
I understand that, I'm saying we're losing an option, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, all right, I'll make the motion then. I guess I'm not supposed to as the chair, but I will make the
You
motion.
can make any motion
you
you
can make
want,
two.
you're a participating member of the
Well,
board.
I understand, but I'm trying not to.
Hey, all right, hold on.
I will move that
Hold
we
on,
accept.
hold on. I'll make a motion that we accept the changes to the personnel policy as related to the health and dental assurance as presented.
Moved by Mr. Perry, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Schaefer. Is there further discussion?
All I have to say is, I think more changes could be needed.
Any other comments or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
Abstain? Motion carries 3-1-0. Well, moving on. We will get. Okay, the policy review. These probably we're hoping will go
We gotta do them all separate, right?
correct.
Do them all separate. The only, just a heads up,
See, I
I've
can't
reviewed
think
all
of-
these policies. I'm fine with no recommended changes for the cash receipt, credit card, fund balance, records retention, the financial reconciliation, and fraud. I do have several changes that I propose to recommend to the board for the purchasing policy.
Okay, so we'll start by saying I make a motion that we approve the cash receipt policy.
Moved by Mr. Perry to approve the cash receipt policy as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Credit card policy.
I make a motion that we approve the credit card policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Schaefer to approve the credit card policy as written. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Fund balance.
I make a motion to approve the fund balance policy.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Brunel to approve the fund balance policy. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Records retention.
I make a motion that we approve the records retention policy.
Moved by Mr. Perry. Seconded by
Me, John.
Mr. Brunel. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Financial reconciliation.
I make a motion that we approve the financial reconciliation policy as updated.
Moved by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Brunel. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Fraud policy.
I make a motion that we approve the fraud policy as updated.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Brunel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. Purchasing. Mr. Brown.
Okay. All right, so this one I did the editing in the old-fashioned way where, so you should be all be able to see
all
the
the highlights,
changes. Yeah.
I like
You got it now. Good.
So with the purchasing policy, we've had some issues, at least I've had some issues for the last couple of years on knowing when a purchase order is required and when it's not. And I think there's some confusion with the vendors that are listed on Appendix A. And just to refresh your memory, Appendix A are all these vendors where we have contracts with or they provide services to the town, sort of like on a proprietary type relationship because they own the software. They're the only company that can provide the parts and equipment. Or they're companies that are, like our auditing firm, our lawyers, so they're specialty engineering firms. So I'll just go down through this real quick. My intent here was to try to clarify when purchase orders were required and when they're not. But I also did discover just some few minor things that should be addressed. In the introduction section 1D, we do actually ask that all of our boards, committees, commissions, elected and appointed officials, that they all follow the purchasing policy. And they do. You know, I work with the Rec Commission, I've worked with the Mosquito District, you know, and everyone, the Cable Committee, which no longer exists, but the folks of the cable. So this was just language that I added for just confirmation that they are required to follow it. Under the purchasing procedures, section 2C, this is where I've struck out language that talks about the requirement or the exemption for those items for those companies listed on Appendix A to require purchase orders. So it just kind of clarifies it and says, hey, if you're on Appendix A, you can be exempt from the purchase orders as long as we have a written contract or we're doing, you know, just routine, regular purchases. We're not going to require a purchase order. So a good example of this is, I call it Londonderry Ford. The police department sends its vehicles over there. They do the oil changes, tires, routine maintenance. Throughout the year, they probably could range anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000 in maintenance costs. But we're not going to issue a purchase order for every oil change, so it would be exempt. If we went out and purchased a brand-new cruiser, and just because Londonderry Ford is listed in Appendix A, it doesn't mean that we can go to Londonderry Ford and just sole source a cruiser, unless, of course, it was state bid price. So that's a good example of what we're trying to describe. In section, further down, section 2F, I felt that this language was placed in the wrong subsection. So I didn't change anything, I just moved it below to section 3D now. And so this section seems to be talking about the whole competitive purchasing process. And I thought it'd be just more appropriate that that paragraph be in that section. Just clarification throughout the policy, I just, you know, I've been involved sometimes when you reference the word day, for whatever reason, sometimes you can have problems because you don't know if that includes a weekend, a paid holiday. So calendar day is very clear. It's a calendar day. And then you get to Appendix A, and I tried to clarify that Appendix A now, the only language that will be there will be the following vendors are not subject to the competitive pricing bidding requirements of this policy as required in Section 3 purchases, period. And working with the finance department, we've updated our vendor list. So we've added some, taken some away.
Did you run this through council?
No.
The reason why I ask is they were the one that approved the policy that's here.
No.
And the same thing I say every year, I'll say again. Appendix A is your way around the policy.
Well, now it's.
And there's no reason to have the policy if you have Appendix A that works you around it. I'm done.
I do plan little steps, but next year I do question some of the purchasing that we do and utilizing Appendix A. So, but and here's what I think that we could do in the future. I was thinking about this. Some of these companies, for example, like our fuel company, right? Maybe in our purchasing policy in Appendix A, we can require that particular vendor is put out for a competitive bid every 3 years. I don't want to be switching fuel companies every year. But every 3 years, it might not be a bad thing to bid, you know.
How do you bid
different
fuel that
service.
you buy on spot? Because we don't have a contracted price
Well,
with them.
you can bid fuel by either fixed per gallon,
But the problem
or
is
you
that
can
costs us
or you
more
can
money.
bid it for whatever the markup is over barrel or over rack price they call it.
See, so,
Typically, you do it over rack price.
right, but the problem that we had is that we were paying more by getting a locked-in price than we were by the order.
Right. So
And that's why we've chosen to go that way.
we do cash purchase, and there's a certain markup over whatever the daily rack price is. And that's where the competitive pricing gets involved. Someone's willing to sell it to you half a cent cheaper than this vendor.
All right.
The intention of the board, please.
I would want this approved by council before I would say yes. And I'll probably still say no because I don't like Appendix A.
What all Appendix A is doing is it removes the bid process. The big issue is we also think, people think this would also remove the PO process too. It's clarified, and it always was about, these were considered vendors we trust and had relationships with, plus they were, in some cases, sole providers. And that was that's why it got created.
There's like 50 names on that list.
I understand
At
that.
least, yeah.
But it's like, they're ones that we do business with on a regular basis. Like, you know, Dave's Septic. Well, they're the ones that provide all the potties on the spot.
Yeah, but 95% of everything that we're doing is through all those vendors,
Oh, I agree.
which
We-
makes
we
all
drive
this
those
policy a waste of time. I've said it year after year.
Well, I think the other part of the policy is the PO requirement, right, for larger than 3,000.
The PO is,
And that's something that was also very confusing with people. Now it's very much spelled out.
Okay, so it's the consensus of the board to refer this to council prior to our vote. Mr. Brown, would you do that?
I can do that, yes.
And we will act on it at a subsequent meeting. Okay? All right, we will move.
Actually, we don't have to make an approval of any such to make it so people can continue to purchase, right?
Right.
Because it's supposed to be reviewed every year
Yeah.
and voted on, but we're not.
We're not gonna be holding anything up.
Okay.
no.
Okay, I will entertain public comment. And I understand that you are also a member of the public, Ms. Brand, but,
Moderators?
but what?
Because they didn't set up the poles. I said Troy called them, Troy told them to set up the poles, and he's like,
Did they not show up?
beside himself.
Did they?
No, they didn't set up the easels, they didn't set up they just set up the new booths, but they didn't put the curtains on, they put the tables up, but they didn't put the things on the tables. And he can't find anyone. And I said, well, I can get there as soon as I'm done what I have to do, and we can put the curtains up, or we can do it first thing in the morning. I mean, we get there at 6 a.m. We can do it first thing in the morning,
Okay, so I will open the floor for public comment. Seeing and hearing none, I will close the floor for public comment and move on. Mr. Brown, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, I do have a couple of things here.
Okay.
One, I just wanted to give the board an update. We did reach out to our legal counsel regarding the grievance. It was discussed at the last meeting to see if we could not defer the grievance or the arbitration procedure till late fall. We did reach out, haven't heard anything back, but the feedback we received from our counsel was that, in his opinion, the union has the right to actually request that it be deferred out. So that was a response back, and I haven't heard anything.
So we don't have the right to refer.
I thought it was I was surprised that we don't, but it needs to be mutually agreed to, so I guess.
Well, we don't mutually agree.
Yeah, so we don't, and then, so we can fight over our,
So there was no response though?
not yet. I mean, our attorney said that he would reach out to the union, but he just gave a heads up that, at the end of the day, the union does have a right to,
Because they filed it.
push it out, probably because they filed it, yeah.
Right. All right,
I was surprised.
Just continue to kick the problem down the
Yeah.
road.
all right.
We just talked about the special election tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Fire hydrant rental fees, $23,500. We got a bill. I've been holding it. I did contact Pinachuk and was informed that this additional bill is a result of those hydrants that were installed last fall, and so they were captured for 2017. All of the hydrants and additional lines that are being installed since January 1st, 2017, will not be captured until January 1, 2018.
So we'll be able to put in the budget.
So, and there was nothing that they could do, trying to defer the payment of this 23.5 because of the regulations they have to follow, through the PUC. They're just not simply
Can
able
we
to
send
do
the
it.
bill to St. Cobain then? As
I was-
unanticipated expense,
I thought that might be a good idea.
see if they're willing to tap it.
Since it was unexpected.
I don't know that we wanna do that.
We're in negotiations, that's the issue.
Exactly.
And that, it has, well, I
Make them
can't,
aware. Well, we could,
You don't wanna send a bill for something like that and have them say that that satisfies their obligation towards that portion of litigation.
So just don't pay it until we get forced to pay it.
why, we knew it was coming. We knew this was coming.
Well, I know we knew, I guess,
I-
then if we knew, why was it not added into our budget last year? Cause I don't think we had a number.
We didn't know the amount, we had no
We
idea.
had no idea how much we were gonna get.
We had
done.
no idea, but we knew it was coming. And the thing is, I personally don't know that I want to jeopardize the negotiations by doing that. I mean, maybe we could ask informally,
but, you know,
Do that.
huh?
I wouldn't even do that.
But
we're probably, we're scheduled, we don't have a date yet, but, there is supposed to be another face-to-face meeting.
yeah, I hope it's sooner than later because
And-
I don't want to be doing it in July.
I would not bring this up.
I'll accept a motion to pay the bill.
I'll make a motion to pay Penachuk for the hydrant fees we've received.
Motion by Mr. Perry,
Second.
by Mr. Brunel. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 400.
Okay, so then the last item in our IT room, we had some air conditioning problems, started, late last week, which, you know, John keeps receiving, he gets an alert when the temperature in the room and the equipment begins to where it has a point of overheating. So Kevin had the service tech come. They think the motor fan housing needs to be replaced. They have not been able to find a part for it because of its age. And at this point in time, it just really looks like the best thing to do is replace it. And the unit itself right now, it doesn't have the capacity to even cool the room the way it should. So Kevin has been able to get 2 quotes. We're still trying to figure out what size we should have, if it should be a 1.5 ton or a 2 ton. It looks like some of them coming through with heat pumps on them, and I don't know if they even sell them anymore where it's just strictly air conditioning because these ductless
So
systems.
These are the split units?
These are the split units.
Oh, they are fantastic.
I know they are. So anyhow, what I'm looking for the board is, you know, I'm going to have to tap into the building maintenance trust fund to do this purchase.
What are we
I
talking
really don't feel the cost is right now. My estimate is $5,250 up to $6,800.
room is small.
You should see.
But it's a split unit.
But it's
I
also
had
regional.
a split unit just in my bedroom,
So,
$4,500.
Let me just give you a little more background. So this unit has been questionable since the day we put all the stuff in the room. We've had a secondary unit in the room for about 2 years. And the challenge is that we had the 2 hot days last week.
Yep.
The main unit shut itself off several times. And it's been doing this off and on for the last couple of years, and we've always known it was undersized. I believe Kevin did say to me that he did try to put the money in the budget a couple of years ago to do it, but it was squashed. I don't remember that, but I believe he tried to do it. There's no other option, because the other side of it too, the secondary unit's in the middle of the floor, it's blocking, you can't even walk around it. Right
So
now, the
would
door's
this-
wide open and
Yeah.
secure because we can't get the room clean.
Would this enable you to take that secondary unit out?
That was my ask of Kevin when this became a problem. I'm not the one specing it, Kevin is, but
I talked to him today about that. Said the second unit would go, and he said yes.
Yeah.
And it would,
So-
of course, use less
because
electricity.
I'm against fixing the existing unit because I believe it's already way undersized as it is. I'm more in favor of replacing it to a unit that can handle that closet.
So the high figure is, what'd you say, 58?
6,800.
68?
Yeah, I think you're going to be somewhere in the 5,500 range.
So could we entertain a motion to spend up to $6,800?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around. We're talking about a 12-by-8 room?
So as soon as that unit shuts off, hang on a second, as soon as that unit shuts off, within about 45 minutes, the room climbs from a nice 66 degrees, which is where 68, 70 degrees we're trying to, it climbs to 90.
But it's because of the equipment in there.
Right. That, all
Right,
that
it's
stuff
not
in
the
there,
room,
that
it's
whole,
the
that
equipment.
room is running all the time. Police, fire.
Never stops, yeah. And it never stops running, the air
I
conditioning.
just struggle with, it's a small room.
But
there's
it's
a
the
lot of
equipment in
heat
there,
coming
Steve.
out of that.
Any unit should be able to do it.
It's right on the end when you
No.
walk.
So you would expect that little R2D2, that we call R2D2,
Yeah.
would do it? On its own alone, it cannot do it. The room will run about 85 degrees or warmer with that one unit.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, there's no other ventilation ways we can get around this?
Well, this is how we've gotten by the last couple of years, where we've stolen AC from the main building, ducted in, we've closed out the doors. In the wintertime, we open up the vents, and it's not that much of an issue, but the summertime, it becomes a problem.
But you're talking about thousands of dollars of electrical equipment.
Well, I was just
Well,
gonna
we're
say,
talking hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of
$100,000
thousands.
Yeah,
worth.
so-
Let's
I
fix
mean-
it right, and, I mean, we've got to protect the investment here.
Yes, we
Right.
do. Troy, what's the account stand for that we're looking to pull it out of? What's it stand at?
It's the, what's the balance?
Yeah.
Well, it's $50,000.
Yep.
However, we know we're exploring repairs down at the Litchfield at the fire station, which
Yep.
is, that project could be somewhere, hopefully comes in around 10 or 12. Worst
Could be-
case, it could be 30.
Right,
And you have
So-
50,000 in the fund,
all right, and what's the high bid?
68.
68.
Mr.
And
Perry
what's-
moves
what's-
that we
what's the
spend
fund?
up into,
The special?
It's the building maintenance
I make a
spendable trust
motion
fund.
that we allow the spending of up to $7,000 from the building maintenance fund for the air conditioning unit in the IT room.
Mr. Perry moves. Do you have that, Deb?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Motion carries 301 with Mr. Brunel abstaining.
It's just tough for me to wrap my head around that small of a room, but
I was thinking like $3,000.
I was thinking.
Buy the unit,
I was thinking
install,
25,
$3,000.
maybe 3, yeah.
Yeah.
But this should fit us this should be the right
but
thing
I'm
to
not
do.
an
Should
AC
take care of it.
I'm not an AC guy either,
Again,
so.
my ask of Kevin is to make sure it's sized appropriately. The room BTUs are not gonna change. Maybe over the next couple of years, as we invest in the next generation, they'll go down, but it shouldn't get any higher than it is.
Okay, you're all set, Trey? Selectmen reports, Mr. Brunel?
Budget committee meeting coming up Thursday. I haven't been to one yet since I took over. I will reach out to Troy for any kind of highlights you want me to make sure they know about. But that's it for me.
Mr. Perry?
Planning board did approve the plan for Erickson Foundation Solutions
Nice.
up on Charles Bancroft Highway. It is just on the south side of New England Small Tube. It's approved as a 15,000 square foot building to be built in phase 1. And it was also approved with the potential to add another 15,000 square feet as phase 2.
Wow, nice.
So it could end up being 30,000 square feet. It's gonna start as 15, and they got all their approvals, and let's hope that they can come up with the money to pay for it with the electrical costs and overruns they weren't expecting.
Excellent. Mr. Schaefer?
Recreation, we're still dealing with pickleball. They're supposed to tighten up their schedule at Talent Hall. They are donating nets, rackets, and balls to the middle school so the kids can learn how to play pickleball. That's it.
Okay. The only report I had is in conversation with the Historical Society for the Memorial Day activities, and the board is invited. Members of the board are invited to participate. The parade begins at 10 o'clock at the middle school and comes up 3A to the Old Town Hall, or the Historical Society building now, at the fire station. The program will begin when the parade ends. And again, members of the board are invited to attend. And also march, if you would so desire. If you'd like to do that, again, the parade starts at 10. We urge all residents to attend the Litchfield Memorial Day activities in recognition of all of the people who have valiantly served our country. We have no items removed from consent. We have no other business. Next regular meeting is June 12th, 2017. And I will now entertain a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A:3, 2A. And we will only come out of non-public to adjourn the meeting. So at this point, I would... Mr. Perry moves,
I'm gonna second your motion.
or actually,
to
I'll
go
have you
into
move
non-public.
the motion, go into non-public, how's that?
Well, you made it.
No, I didn't, I just said that I will entertain a motion
All right.
to
then
go
I
into
move
non-public under RSA. Mr. Perry moves. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Brunel. A roll call vote. Mr. Brunel?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, and now I will tell you, we will only come out of non-public to adjourn. So I will say good night and thank you for attending the meeting and thank you for watching, those of you at home.
And don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Don't forget to vote in the special election tomorrow morning. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Campbell High School. And again, thank you for watching. Good night.